It's been a really good year for the Red Sox farm system, and it just simply keeps getting better. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and not only has it been a good year for the Red Sox farm system, this last week has been really fantastic, because not only did it start with Baseball America naming Roman Anthony as the #1 prospect in the entire sport, it's ended with Keith Law naming Kristian Campbell the best prospect of the 2024 season. So what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to break Kristian Campbell's season down, talk about why he's getting the attention and awards that he's getting, and what this could mean for the 2025 Red Sox. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. So like I said in the intro, just yesterday, Keith Law put out his sort of end-of-year award ceremony for prospects in Major League Baseball. He gave out a ton of different awards, but the big one being the best prospect in all of Major League Baseball, going to Kristian Campbell. Now, we've talked about Kristian Campbell a few times on this channel throughout the season as he continued to make really historic pace up towards Major League Baseball, but I really don't know, even with the coverage that we've had of him over this season, that we've really hammered home just how good Campbell's been in 2024. Because if you look at everything all together, the 3 levels Campbell played in his first full season of professional baseball, which in its own right is a really impressive feat. Going from single A to double A and then to triple A all in the same season is ultimately really impressive, but it's what he did at those levels combined which really made him the best player in minor league baseball this year, because combined in all 3 levels, he had a 179 WRC+. Not only is that good for 79% more productive at the plate than the average minor leaguer this season, it's also good for the best WRC+ amongst all minor leaguers in baseball, with at least 400 plate appearances. And it's also good for the best by a pretty wide margin. The next closest player is at 160 WRC+. So Kristian Campbell is not only the best minor leaguer in terms of production, he's also 20% better than the next closest player. That is just incredibly impressive stuff, and it doesn't end there. His .330 average overall this year between the 3 levels is good for the 4th best in the entire sport. His .439 on base percentage, again, overall 3 levels, is good for 3rd best in the sport, and his .558 slug is good for the 6th best in baseball, minor league baseball specifically. No matter what way you slice it, Campbell put up one of the best minor league seasons we've seen in a very long time, and I think something that may be equally as impressive as what the statistics say or what his slash line says is how he's been able to do it, and that is without a ton of strikeouts. The strikeout rate over the 3 levels is 19.9%, which would be slightly over major league average, but nothing super crazy, compared to a 14.3% walk rate. That is a really fantastic sign that Kristian Campbell is not only doing damage on pitches he's making contact with, but being aware of his strike zone at every single level. I think that's a very important sign that he's going to be able to continue above average production as he continues to go up the minor league ladder and eventually make Major League Baseball. The fact that he is able to understand that strike zone is really important. His best production this season definitely came in Double A, where he slashed .362 with a .463 on base percentage and a .582 slug, good for a 197 WRC+. He was almost lapping other average players in Double A, about 97% better than the average hitter in Double A. And at that level as well, his strikeout ratio was 14.9% and his walk rate was 13.7%, almost a dead even ratio. Again, I'm still going to point those out because, yes, production matters. Obviously, at the end of the day, the damage you do ends up being what ends up on the back of your baseball card. But again, for a younger player who's really rapidly coming up this system, ensuring that approach to the plate, that ideology, that understanding of a strike zone still remains is really important. That is happening with Kristian Campbell. His least productive level this season was the jump from Double A to Triple A. But if his least productive part of his season is still hitting .286 with a .412 on base percentage and a .468 slug for a 139 WRC+, it's really hard to complain about his dip in production, right? If that's sort of the floor of Kristian Campbell's 2024 campaign, yeah, I think a lot of people should be getting excited about who Kristian Campbell could be. Unfortunately, that's most likely where the statistics stop this year for Kristian Campbell, because on top of yesterday being named the best player in minor league baseball this season, his season also ultimately came to an end. He was placed on the 7-day IL with a lat strain on the Worcester Red Sox roster, and this is what's going to end his 2024 season. He's probably not going to play again during the regular season. Now, if the Woo Sox make the playoffs, maybe they rush him back a little bit, but I really don't see this happening. I'm not too concerned with this injury. It was an injury that he sustained running to first base, just one of those freak injuries where you're running and you move an arm wrong and all of a sudden something tweaks a little bit. It doesn't sound like the Red Sox are all that concerned with this lat strain. I think the only reason this is ending his season is because really the Red Sox can afford to do that, right? If this had happened in May or July or something, I don't think he's out for a really long period of time. I would guess maybe you miss him for a couple of weeks and then he's back on the Woo Sox or the Sea Dogs or wherever he was at that point. This is just sort of an unfortunate circumstance with the Woo Sox only really having 5 games left in their season. So yes, it's a season-ending injury, but yeah, it's certainly not a legitimate season-ending surgery. It's just mostly due to timing, and the Red Sox firmly believe that he will be perfectly fine for 2025, and I also don't think this should detract from anything he did in 2024, because what he did this season is ultimately extraordinarily impressive. To be the best player in all of minor league baseball is saying something when it comes to what Kristian Campbell's potential could be going into 2025, and it's not an easy feat to accomplish. Think about all the players that are currently playing minor league baseball trying to make their way to the majors. You're talking about thousands of players in minor league systems, and Kristian Campbell was better than every single one of them. Just unbelievably impressive run from Kristian Campbell, and he absolutely deserves all the recognition, all the praise he's probably going to get on top of this Keith Law Award over the next couple of weeks. But the ultimate question, and the one that really matters to the Red Sox and Red Sox fans, is what does this mean for his impact going into 2025? Well, before we answer that question, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's answer that question. We actually talk about this a lot. When are the high impact players, really the big four for the Boston Red Sox, going to make their major league debut? It's been a bigger conversation over the last couple of weeks just simply because of how the Red Sox are doing. Well, to answer that question, I think Kristian Campbell has a good chance of being one of, if not the first, minor league big prospect to make his major league debut. In my opinion, it's either going to be him or Roman Anthony or both coming out of spring training. But I think specifically with Kristian Campbell, he's in a really unique position compared to the other 3 big prospects in the Red Sox system, simply because of how clear his path is to Major League Baseball. This season, Kristian Campbell not only did what he did at the plate, he also did it while being a stellar defender in 4 different positions. This season, he spent time in center field, shortstop, third base, and most importantly, second base for the Boston Red Sox. It would not surprise me one bit if Kristian Campbell gets a legitimate shot at being the opening day second baseman for the Red Sox for 2025, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, there really isn't a ton of second base legitimate talent available on the free agent market. There's some guys who have played second base, but I don't think it's really anyone who you would sign to be like, yep, this is going to be our second baseman of the future. And 2, the second base position for the Red Sox has been a problem for a while. This season, it continued to be. During the 2024 season, the Red Sox had 11 different players man second base. That is a whole lot of inconsistency over there. They just simply can't find anybody that is going to be able to stick in that position. On top of that, the production you were getting from those 11 players wasn't exactly fantastic. In fact, if you take a look at every single position on the diamond for the Sox, second base was the least productive position when it comes to offense during the 2024 season, and it's really not by a small margin. Over the course of the 2024 season, the second base position for the Red Sox yielded a combined 193 average with a 245 on base percentage and a 278 slug for just a 54 OPS plus. 46% below league average production. On the defensive side of things, there really wasn't a ton of consistency over there either. Of, again, those 11 players that manned second base for any innings in 2024, only 3 of them were above league average defensively. Shout out to David Hamilton, by the way, for being very clearly the best defensive second baseman the Boston Red Sox have, and I do think he actually looked pretty solid over there at second base. I just don't see him in an everyday role with the inconsistencies we saw at the plate this season from Hamilton. So you take a look at those two factors. The fact that there really isn't a super clear solution on the open market for a second baseman, and what you've been getting so far from your second base position, the door is kind of wide open for Kristian Campbell to make his mark. Now, I don't think it is a guarantee by any means that he starts the season with the Boston Red Sox next year. I do think coming into spring training, there's going to be a legitimate battle between him and Vaughn Grissom to see who ends up being the Red Sox starting second baseman and who ends up either starting in AAA or in more of a utility role to begin 2024. And I know people are going to immediately be like, well, why would we give Grissom a shot? Well, that's because he's a 23-year-old prospect who really didn't have a big sample size in Major League Baseball this season and is really improving himself in AAA in a whole lot of different ways coming into 2025. He still has a ton of potential. I do think there's going to be a battle there, but I do think Kristian Campbell has a very good shot of winning it. And on top of all of that, what makes him unique as well is he's the only top 4 prospect that is a right-handed bat. We talk all the time about that sort of balance in this lineup. Now, I personally am not super huge on, well, the Red Sox need to move anybody so they can get some right-handed hitters in here. We've talked about it before, but even with the right-handed mashing that the Red Sox have had this season against lefties, Rob Refsnyder, Tyler O'Neill, Romy Gonzalez have all been towards the top of the league against left-handed pitching. You need to figure out a way to have your lefties also hit lefties, or you're still not going to be able to win games. And we saw that in 24, but getting Campbell in here balances out that lineup a bit more. Him coming into 2024 and having the season he had from the right-hand side does give you a whole lot of options when it comes to offensive versatility. So there are a lot of reasons, in my opinion, that we're going to see Kristian Campbell pretty early on here in 2025. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if that ends up being opening day. But overall, again, just a huge shout out to Kristian Campbell. It's been an incredibly impressive season for him so far, and it simply is just going to continue to get better as these awards start to roll in. What we saw from Campbell this year should give everyone a lot of hope as to what the future of the Red Sox should look like, and I don't think we're far away from seeing it, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about it? What do you think about Kristian Campbell winning this award? What do you think of his season, and what do you think his impact's going to be in 2025? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps it out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this video, and I will see you in the Red Seats.